Hi, my name is Reina Samuels. This is Long Island Girl Talk. Today we are talking about what Raven Symone recently said about that she wouldn't hire people with a ghetto name. Today I'm here with
Karyse Gocoul,
DuMorney, Jada Medina.
Okay, so Karyse, what do you think about this topic?
Some of my views on this topic are I am against what Raven Symone said. I do not believe that somebody's name should have any effect on their character or their working capability or how they would perform on a task. I don't think that somebody's name has anything to do with it because they did not choose their own name. They were given the name, and the name should not describe their character or how they act.
I agree with what you said, but if somebody's name, even though a few, I know ghetto is just it's somebody, how can somebody just be described as ghetto? Ghetto to me, it's just if you can act ghetto, you can there's just different ways of being ghetto, but like you said, you can't pick your name, and you didn't choose your name. It's not your fault that your name is that. But if the director, if they can't say your name, even if it's ghetto or not, they can't hire you.
I'm against what you said because I don't think the pronunciation, having a problem to pronounce somebody's name, has anything to do with it. That goes for any name. There's different pronunciations for people's name, and a person not being able to say your name should not have any problem or effect or conflict because you simply ask the person to pronounce it for you. And that goes for any name. It's not just a name that's hard to pronounce, or just because it's hard to pronounce doesn't mean that it's ghetto, because people have different spellings for their name. So that's my
Did you have anything to say?
Alright, so I know a lot of people are angry about what she said, and they're like, oh, Raven Symone shouldn't have said this. But to be honest, she needed to say it because it's something that's really happening. People are going out there and they're trying to get jobs and they can't get hired because of the names that they were given. And it's a reality that we face every day. It sticks with us in our names and our appearances, and nobody pays attention to it until someone like Raven Symone brings attention to it. So it's something that needed to be said because a lot of people weren't even angry about it before. And it happens every day. A lot of people don't get hired for their names. And then another thing is that ghetto, you choose to be ghetto. And because you choose to be ghetto, that stereotype of being ghetto, it just got hooked onto these names like Shaquana or stuff like that. And it's being ghetto, I know a lot of people are like, oh, ghetto fabulous, being ghetto is a good thing. But the word ghetto came from these nasty slums that they had Jews staying in the Holocaust. So ghetto was something that was dirty, it was disrespectful, it was terrible, and people looked down on it. So if you go out there and you're acting ghetto, it kind of sticks to you, and it sticks to your people. And a lot of people already think that, oh, all black people are ghetto, all black people are terrible. And it's by acting ghetto, we're enforcing that. We're saying, yeah, you know what, you're right. And then people think that ghetto is something that you automatically are when you're black. So then all these African American names are automatically labeled as ghetto.
But at the same time, I don't find it or think it should be deemed acceptable to label because somebody has a certain name, to label their whole race or whatever background they come from as being ghetto, because like you said, that's somebody's choice or that's somebody's actions that they made. So I don't think it should be labeled as their name. If this person has this name, then this means that they're going to act this sort of way, or that I don't think a name should be even labeled to a certain background. Although certain backgrounds have names that they have tendencies to be named, or though the name came from a certain root, I don't think it should be if her name's Shaquana, she's automatically black and she's ghetto, because that has no your name is not how you act. Your name is the name that was given to you, the name that your parents decided for you to have. So I don't think that it should be deemed acceptable to do that.
I agree with you. Like, many people, like, somebody could just have the skin tone of a black person and somebody can just immediately say, oh, they're black, they're ghetto. And that doesn't really mean anything because they haven't met that person. They don't even know their name. Like, they could just look at a person and just be like, oh, they're ghetto. And just, it doesn't really make any sense to me.
I agree with you, but it's something that we've caused. We've caused this to happen. It can't be changed now. It's too far into history for us to be able to change that stereotype that if you're black, you're this. If you're black, you have this type of name. So it can't be changed anymore. So while I do agree that, yeah, you know, your name shouldn't be a stereotype, it's something that Raven Symone has brought attention to because it is a problem and nobody actually thought about it being a problem until Raven Symone said it.
Well, I don't believe that because I don't think that I believe that it's never too late for a change. So because of that, I think that it's not too late to put the idea out there or to tell people or to show them how somebody's name is not connected to their character or is not connected to how they act or how they can take out a job or just how they are themselves.
But for me, I think that just Raven Symone, like, she just shouldn't be talking because some people, they might say her name is ghetto. And I mean, she's just everywhere with this and like, it's just rude.
How do you decide how ghetto a name is? Like Moesha, some people can see that as ghetto and some people could say that's just a normal name.
Yeah.
So like, how do you define ghetto?
Yeah, she never actually, the only example she gave was Watermelon Drea. And if you actually look up Watermelon Drea, they're a character on YouTube who does act ghetto. They act like the stereotype of what all white people think we are. So that was the only example she gave. Now everybody else who's like, oh, she's offending me because my name is Shaquana, they're the ones who are deciding my name is ghetto because my name is Shaquana.
I believe that it's certain people's perspective or how they were brought up to thinking what ghetto is, to believing what ghetto is, or what race is thought of as ghetto. It's how the person was brought up or what their views are on that. So I never think it's too late to show people or to tell people that they're wrong and to show them how people actually are, how the race actually, not exactly the race because you can't tie down like how character or how somebody acts because everybody's different, but I don't think it's too late to show people that.
So basically a name isn't connected to someone's behavior and how they were brought up.
Then how do you propose we make that change?
Wait, what was your question again?
How do you propose we make this change and that we show people that, you know, your name doesn't determine that you're ghetto?
Should we ask the audience?
Yeah.
That's what I was
Audience,
thinking.
you have anything to say about this?
First, I have to compliment you, young ladies, but the term ghetto is not just associated with one ethnicity. In Asia, quote unquote, referred to as ghetto. South America, different parts, the black, the white, Asian, so that's associated. One's name cannot determine whether they're ghetto or not. A behavior, ghetto is an acquired behavior. The way in which you carry yourself. If a young lady sits and the legs are spread open, I personally think that's ghetto. So it also depends on an individual. I may think something is ghetto because of my beliefs and the way I was brought up, while somebody else may think it's acceptable behavior. So we have to determine what is ghetto and what is not ghetto. I think how we can make that change, basically, there's no change because it was never determined that someone's name is ghetto. But what you have to do is remember within yourself, says self-esteem and how you carry yourself. Your name is the name that your parents choose. Yes, some parents need to really think when they give their children names. For instance, Beyonce, the name that they give their child. I think what Raven Symone said, she was somewhat ignorant. What she meant to say is that ethnicity, the names that we give our children, people can use it to determine our ethnicity and then use that as a career barrier in hiring us. For instance, my maiden name is Lovell. People automatically think they're going to see a white person walking through the door because it was originally from British, but I am full black, no question about that, and proud of being black. My married name is Gocoul. When you hear Gocoul, you're not expecting to see a black person coming in. You're expecting to see an Indian person or wherever you think. So the name may be used as some people would say an advantage or a disadvantage wherever you look at it. So I think that's what we have to bear in mind. Personally, I don't think there needs to be any change because it was never determined.
Like you said, I don't think there can be an end to this because people just the way they were raised, the way their parents the way their parents taught them, oh, you shouldn't do that, oh, you should do this, that determines whether the person is ghetto or not because their parents told them whether or not to do this.
I have a question. Okay, so when you think of a ghetto person, the automatically thing that you think of is a girl. When you guys were using these examples for what ghetto is, you guys using girl names, but you guys never thought of a guy as ghetto. So when Raven Symone said this, she was like, oh, I'm not hiring this girl. Because what's that name that she used as an example?
Watermelon.
Is that a girl?
That's
Yes.
But it's a girl played by a guy.
Not right.
So your definition of ghetto is having no class.
Exactly. Somebody, the way they live, and if you don't have not just class, just in general common sense. If you don't have common sense about the ways you dress and the ways you think and the way you act, then you just can't think and act and just live your life straight.
Can I say something about that? About ghetto. Most our black race, they always terminology us as a lower class of people. And what I mean by low class of people is where you live and how you react with each other. But it's not our fault. They are being stereo about us as a group, a race of people. And this has been going on for centuries. They didn't start with the young lady. It started years and years ago. When they brought us to this country, we have to think that they didn't intend us to climb. We were supposed to stay at the lower. But as we grow, we start to begin to get educated. We start to learn what's going on in our lives. So they put you in a neighborhood where a group of people could not be able to move. But see, as we become more and more educated, we starting to move out, we starting to do things. Our name should not cause us to not get a job, not to live certain places, but that's how they do. And they continue to do that up until today. If you notice, college now, kids are not tolerating what our people back there. I'm 73 years old. There's a lot of things that our people took. We lay back, we didn't have anything to say about. Now young people today have a lot to change. You can make changes. Don't let nobody fool you. You cannot make changes. Look at Martin Luther King. He went out there and he demonstrated. He wanted us to be better. So now we can take our lives and change it around and do better. Not because people telling you because of your race, or you can't do this, you can't be hired. Our race didn't cause us not to be hired. What caused the people today saying no. We was making a little bit of money and they was making $5 more than you. That's the reason why we stayed in that low income bracket. Nowadays, we are saying no, we're not going to have that anymore. We have to rise. We cannot stay down. We have to come up. So if you pay attention, what's going on around you, you will see.
I agree, and social media now is very, very powerful, which is why I said that, I felt like Raven Symone had the right to say what she said. It was wrong, but by her saying that, now you have everybody watching The View and everyone on social media, they're realizing that, this is a problem. Everybody's standing up now. They're like, this is a problem. We shouldn't be discriminated against based on our names. And Raven Symone brought attention to that.
Yeah, like what you guys said about the names, like I know some people named Princess. What does everybody think when they hear the name Princess?
A little white girl.
Thank you. I know some princesses, like I can think of girls that are, I don't know anybody that is like this, but I can think that like there are some people in the world that are just like named Princess, but they could just be like the worst person. Like they could just, even though they're thought of like what you said, they could just be thought of like this little perfect white girl, and then like you could just, when you meet them, like you could just like see that, like when you meet them, you could just like you don't have to interpret it, but like you could just, does anybody want to say anything?
Well, I don't believe that the name should, like we were saying, I don't think it should. I know when you hear the name, you might think of something, but I have a couple friends with the name Princess, and none of them are like the description that you guys said you thought of. My friends with the name Princess are African American, and I believe that. What were you saying? You were saying that the name Princess.
Yeah, like they shouldn't just be judged as that person, like that type of person.
Oh, yeah. So again, to what we were saying, I don't think names has anything to do with how you act. Or I know sometimes when you think of a name, an image might pop up in your head or what you might think of because of it, but I don't think that a certain name has any effect on that.
When you asked the question, Princess, what came to my mind was a pretty little girl. I didn't even associate any ethnicity to it. Just a cute, pretty little girl. Didn't associate. And I think if we can all get into the mindset of not associating a color, like when I see somebody, I don't see them for the color, because I say if you cut us, we all have the same blood. And when we go, we're going to die, we're all going 6 feet down. You're not going 6 feet down into gold or platinum or diamond. We're all going 6 feet down into the dirt. And I think if we can all look at that, and that's just the way I brought my children up. I never said there was a point in Karyse's life, and she can share, where a little boy thought that for years his sister told him, can I share, Karyse? Well, just in brief, for years he just thought that she was adopted, and he shared with her, and then he went, no, she was not, so, and that's just because the way he was brought up. We come in different shades, different colors, you may have a black mom and a black dad that have a girl, probably a child come out looking like her, because it's coming from before our ancestors. So when we think Just think pretty. Don't think associate color. Dolls, she never had a light skinned doll until she was older. They were always dark skinned. You need to know where you come from. You need to know pretty can be nappy hair. Pretty can, look, I cut mine off because I wanted to. And it can be long and flowing. That's not pretty. I'm pretty with the hair on, pretty with the makeup off, pretty with the makeup on. Accept yourself for who you are.
Like you said, like we're all going the same place at a certain point in time. Like if we all had the same name, then this would just never happen. If we all had like a name like what was the name?
Watermelon Drea?
Yes. If we all had a name like Watermelon Drea, then this would have just never happened. Like we would all just accept it and it would just never happen.
All right. Growing up, I was always called yellow girl, freckle face, everything that was actually to be, negative. And it used to make me really sad. With my freckles, I used to go home and try to find different remedies to try to remove my freckles. One remedy was, they said if you use a lemon, you can actually turn around and take them off. I used to even go home and try to scrub my face. I scrubbed my face one time so hard that my face turned literally red. And I used to cry to my parents, asking them, why do I have freckles and nobody else? Why do I look like this and I don't look like anybody else? My father explained to me that I'm very unique and that the freckles was a gift from God. So by him telling me that, I embraced that. It took me a long time. And by me now being 47, I have little kids coming up to me. What's the little brown dots on your face? Those are chocolate chips. I'm like, no, these are freckles. And I'm like, oh, you have some. But it's just the way that our society is. Maybe they was jealous that they didn't have them. I don't know. But as y'all being a new generation, y'all can make a change for the better. So if you don't like the stereotype on names or the stereotype on dress codes, y'all can make the change.
Well, this is the end of our segment. This is Reina Samuels with
Ashley DuMorney.
And Jada Medina.
closing off with Long Island Girl Talk.
Bye.